Everybody. Today I have a really cool project for you. It's something that I was been picturing in my mind for a while. It's a modular rune stone, cairn stone, summoning circle thing where you can take and mix and match the pieces that you want, and it's using movement trays. So I had a game that I bought a lot of eBay miniatures, and I don't play the game, but it uses movement trays. So I based up the minis using something else, and then I'm going to use these movement trays with their bases to do a different thing. But you could totally do this with cardboard or whatever, whatever you have lying around the house. But yeah, let's do some arts and crafts. So I have these little movement trays. This is the small one, and then I have one that's a little bigger with bigger sized bases in it. And it's totally modular. I can just put whatever kind of, I just need to have these kind of bases. So yeah, I got a bunch of these guys. I got a lot off of eBay, and I like the miniatures, but I don't play the game, so I don't need the movement trays because I base the guys up differently. But I have all these different things that I can pop in here to make different looking. Well, I guess my original idea was I wanted to have a summoning circle type of thing, and I wanted to make some kind of cairn stone, rune stone things. And then I thought, well, I could do that, but I could also just make it modular, where I can pop things out and then change them out, put whatever I want in there. So I have not done, I need to do one more of these, and then I'm gonna make a bigger one too. So I'll show you how I made these. Okay, just kidding. So I got this stuff at Walmart. This is they're extruded foam sheets, and they're dirt cheap. I think they ran up as 85 cents or something for 32 of them, and it's just a thin foam. But it's not going to fit on here, so I'm not going to be able to make a bigger one with this stuff. I could use foam core. I use a lot of foam core for different things, but I'm gonna use up another one of these movement trays to make this. So what I'm gonna do first is just kind of press in to get that shape, so that I can cut it out. See, I've got the shape in there. So now I can just use some scissors to cut it out. Doesn't need to be too exact. We're gonna rough this stuff up with texture later. It'll also be a little bit smaller because I want to put sand or something in between the little stones. Roughly, just gonna trim off a little bit more. Alright, now I'm going to cut out these shapes. Once again, doesn't need to be too exact. right. Now I'm just going to put it down with a little bit of super glue, and so far in my experience, it doesn't seem like this stuff really melts a lot when you put some super glue down. So far, you know, don't go crazy, because you never know, like it could melt, you get weird fumes, like just leave the windows open, I guess. Pop that guy down on there. Okay, and while I'm letting that dry, I'm gonna take one of these bases that fits in here, and I'm gonna take a piece of foam core, like this, and I'll just push down on one side, and I've taken one piece of side of the paper backing off, and then I'm leaving it on the other, and it's kind of important later. So yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing with this. I'm just gonna cut out this shape. Okay. So with the paper side down, I'm gonna glue that on here. And the super glue, it will melt foam core. It will melt this stuff. So I'm keeping the backing on so that the super glue won't melt the foam. And you could do this with like PVA glue or something else. I'm just impatient. All right, so while these guys are drying, let's make another one of these. So to start with, I have some of these rock molds. These are just, they're from, oh geez, what are they called? They're like knock rock molds. These are for like model railroad people. They have some nice looking little rock faces, and then whenever I have plaster lying around, I always try and fill them up a little bit so that I just have some extra kind of lying around to do other stuff with. So let's see, that's a little too big. This is a little too small. If I stick two of these guys together. That's about right. So what I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to score it. And if you had like a hacksaw or something, you could do this with the hacksaw, just cut it. But hopefully I can just break it and we'll get a clean break. I'm gonna sand it down with sandpaper so I have a flat edge anyways. And this is a harder casting plaster. Good enough. This is a really hard casting plaster, so it's not gonna, you know, if you take this stuff out when it's still kind of slightly wet, you can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Okay. So now I'm gonna sandwich a piece of foam core in between these guys. Maybe just sand down this side a little bit. This is sandpaper. It's a belt sander. These are like indestructible. They last forever. It's about right. This is some tough plaster. And with the belt sander. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same thing again and hope that this super glue doesn't melt the foam too much. The nice thing about plaster though is it's very porous. It wants to soak up glue. I'll sand the bottom side, this side flat again. Okay, and then this stuff should be mostly dry. Pretty dry to the touch. Well, sort of. So what I'm gonna do with this, I'm going to make some designs on this, and I'm just going to freehand them. Okay. Now I think I'm gonna do one down the middle here. And then I can like take my thumb or like one of my fingers and then kind of make a use it as a guide, so I can like go like this, like just pop it over ever so slightly. I'm like using that as a guide, and then I'm just gonna kind of freehand draw some little designs like that. And it doesn't need to be perfect, you know, like if it's slightly irregular, it'll probably look better. Let's see, let me do that again. Kind of just eyeballing it, really. Okay, so now, got my test piece here. I'm gonna do the same thing with this guy, and I sanded this side of him flat. And now I'm gonna come in, you know, again, I'm just kind of like freehanding this stuff as I go. I'm just using like circles, like mini bases and stuff to make some little designs. Like I do have a circle template, but honestly, like this is quicker to just, it doesn't need to be exact again, you know, like it's supposed to look like rough kind of stone. So if it doesn't look 100% neat and totally pristine, that is going to add to the effect. So I'm just going around and I'm trying to get the corners and things like that where they would be naturally more kind of eroded, and then break them up, you know, create some more texture than just the flat kind of foam core. There's all kinds of ways to do that. You know, you can just pick it out with your finger, you can texture it with an X-Acto knife, take like a rock or something, like a piece of tinfoil ball rolled up, and roll it over it. Just do whatever you want. Come in with a pen and redefine those lines a little bit. Glue it down. We use super glue again. Not too worried about it melting now because you know, it's already got some texture and stuff to it, so it's fine. It can melt a little bit. And I'm gonna fill in some of these gaps and stuff around it later too. Could even hit it with a little bit of super glue activator. I should just let that guy dry. I'll just let him dry for a while. Alright, and then I want to do the same thing on this. I want to come around and like pick out little edges and things to weather this a little bit, create some more texture. Okay, so now that I've got everything, I went around and just textured this guy with like the X-Acto and a pen a little bit to kind of bring out some of the, just kind of weather it a little bit. And then now on this guy, I'm gonna trim off this excess foam core, kind of texture that up a little bit too. And then need to draw some runes in here. So let's see, I had a reference picture that I was looking at. Pull that up. Some cool looking runes. All right, and now I'm just gonna come around with some of this spackling stuff. It's just like drywall filler. So I can just sort of press it in here and use it kind of like tile grout around these guys. And it'll just sort of look like, start to look like dirt or something that's sort of collected in the little cracks and stuff. Like I could go over this with like sand and like Mod Podge or something, you know, but this is pretty quick and easy option. And it looks good when you paint it. So I'm just gonna fill in some of those little cracks, create some nice details that make it not look like a piece of plastic. Same thing on these guys. Let's see, where's my sculpting tool? Alright, so everything's dry. It's the next day. I'm gonna go ahead and prime everything black before I start doing any painting. Yeah, I think that this is gonna be part one, and then I'm gonna do a part two video that's painting. But I'm gonna, just one last thing, I'm gonna prime these guys with some airbrush primer because the rattle can primer will melt foam. It'll melt the foam core, and I'm pretty sure it will melt this stuff too, because this is some kind of extruded foam. So I'm gonna use airbrush primer to do it. But yeah, hope you feel inspired. Hope you guys make one of your own, you know, post in the comments or something, and maybe show like a picture if you made your own. Yeah, thanks for watching.